All right, what's up, everybody? It's Stefan, and this is the Tequila Hour. And today we have an interview going on. We have a legend. If you're in the survival shows, if you're in the Naked and Afraid, then you know you've seen Shanika making Black history, making Naked and Afraid history, all in one night. So, yeah, without further ado, welcome Shanika to the show, y'all.
Peace. So thank you for having me.
Oh no, it's the pleasure's all mine. So just told you about it. It's kind of new to me or whatnot, but let's just jump right into it. So getting on the show, how did the audition process even go?
Well, first, they contacted me on Facebook because there's like a talent scout that, believe it or not, scours the internet looking for people who are into nature and survival skills. And if you fit the category, they'll reach out to you. So someone messaged me and asked me if I'd be interested in auditioning. And I'm the type of person I'll probably try almost anything once. So I was like, yeah, definitely. And because of the pandemic, everything was done virtually. Usually they'll fly you out to LA to meet the producers and to audition, but everything was done on Zoom. And, it was just a different experience to go through that.
Okay. So how long did it take from actually hearing or them reaching out and you actually being accepted for the show?
So I heard from them in January of last year, 2021, beginning of January. I let them know my intentions. Yeah, I'm interested. And we went through the process for about 2 months, February and March, a series of interviews and me sending them videos of different skills and, talking to different level executives. And once, they gave me the approval, I had to do a full medical workup, where I had to get EKG, blood work, everything to make sure I was in tip-top shape. And then I also spoke to a psychologist, because believe it or not, in these tough situations, they want to make sure that you're not too crazy.
Yeah,
Because,
definitely.
I feel like you got to be a little crazy to do these challenges.
But they got to make sure you ain't too crazy over the top,
Yeah,
though.
you ain't too crazy. Yeah.
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 Okay.
So by March, I knew I was in. And at that point, I was just waiting for them to give me a date and a location.
Okay.
So by time April rolled around, that's when they gave me the date and they said Mexico. And then probably like a couple weeks into it, I had to like pry them like, we're in Mexico. It's a big
Right.
country. And then they finally gave me, said Chiapas.
Okay. So getting ready for it, like what was the preparation like to get ready for it? Now you know where you're going. Like, how did you even prepare for that?
Well, I felt like the last 3 years prior to it has been preparation, because in 2017 I started going to primitive skills gatherings and really tapping into just earth medicine and learning different skills. And the year 2020, I did a year-long immersion in North Carolina, where it was like one long weekend a month. I would go out into the wilderness, basically in the forest, no camping out, no reception, cooking on the fire and learning different skills. Once I knew I was going to do the show, one thing I did was I started walking barefoot, like
Okay.
everywhere. I lived in Atlanta, and I just literally, if I was going to the store, I'm barefoot. I'm driving my car, I'm barefoot.
Are you
And
serious?
yeah, like I would usually hike barefoot as much as I can prior,
Okay.
but I made it like a job where like every day I'm out there walking barefoot, preparing my feet to, be ready for that. Like my feet are tough in general, but
Okay.
to, get callus build up on your feet to like be able to withstand the elements is a very important thing. And just practicing different skills. I actually changed my diet because I was trying to prepare with, the potential to have a decrease in calories.
Okay.
So I started to do OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. And that really, really helped me to just, my body get used to like not eating, all the time. And that was very beneficial.
Well, oh man, a lot of people do that for weight loss also. So how much weight did you actually lose before even getting on the show? Doing one meal
I
a day.
didn't lose any weight because that's one thing you don't want to do is lose weight before the show. So I
Okay.
did OMAD, but I still like ate my calories to maintain.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I was still crazy, like just thinking about seeing somebody just walking around barefoot all through Atlanta.
I mean, my daughter does. My middle daughter, she loves walking barefoot. So
Does
everywhere we
she?
go,
Okay.
she's barefoot. Yeah, and I prefer it too because when you look at how our feet are, especially babies, and our toes are spread like this, and then
Hmm.
once we start wearing shoes, it kind of like forms our feet unnaturally.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's just so much healthier for you.
Okay. Okay. So, like I said, I'm a big fan of all like survival shows. I watch pretty much all of them. And one of my other favorites is Alone. And I know on Alone they do like wellness checks with the medics or whatnot.
Mm.
Um, are you guys doing wellness checks? Like, are they checking on you every few days to check, make sure your vitals are good and everything?
Well, out there we have two medics, right?
Okay.
And what happens is the medic will like camp out, um, I think maybe like a half a mile away from where we are, and they do 24-hour shifts. So there's always a medic out there at any point, and at any time they're out there. And, if we have an issue or something, they come out and check us. Apart from that, check us if we have like any emergencies. Apart from that, they would come and check us maybe like once a week, just to make sure we're doing all right.
Now, your partner, I thought it was a bit funny that, he was a bit judgmental, like, oh, I don't know how long she's going to last. And in day 5, he was over there, like ready to tap out. And you had to come show him how it's done, get the fire going. I was like, but what was going through your head when he actually tapped and he left?
Well, I don't know if you've seen, my reaction. I was sad that he was leaving
Yeah,
because, it's just not something I'm happy about my partner quitting. I want to win and I want to see you win too. So
yeah,
when he decided to quit, I just was like, I felt, his pain, his frustration, all of it. And I had a lot of empathy for him, so I was really like sad that he left.
okay,
And one of the producer that was there with us, he really emphasized and told us that you do not want to quit. This would be something that you regret for the rest of your life. And I went in knowing that I'm not quitting. I made my mind up, like come hell or high water, I'm not quitting.
right.
And that could be challenging because I knew like whatever happened, I got to endure it. So that in
Okay.
itself was challenging, but I knew like I could do it. It's a mindset. So for
Yeah,
him, I feel like he went in with the wrong mindset, and he just didn't last.
didn't last.
He didn't have, as you've seen on the episode, I would go to the river every day to replenish myself, to pray and to meditate, and just to tap into my ancestors and nature, because I knew that would be the thing to get me through it. He didn't have any kind of practice whatsoever. He was just
Mm.
going through it and that was it.
Just
So,
in his head the whole
challenges
time.
like these, I feel like you have to tap into something that is beyond you and just the struggle that you're in. And that applies to life in general.
Definitely, definitely. I saw you got real creative and innovative out there. One of the biggest things that had me cracking up was the pea gutter. Like, what day did
Yes,
you do that?
man. I came up with that because we had all this bamboo laying around. And like, believe it or not, like in general, I wake up in the night to pee at home.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
out there where we're just drinking water, basically, we'd be up at night just peeing a lot for myself. So I was like, these mosquitoes are basically like hovering on the mosquito net. If you like brushed up against it, they would bite you. So having to go out several times a night lifting up the net, you'd get bit and they would come in it too. So I was like, man, I gotta, then the idea just came to me. I got the bamboo that was split in half. And I was like, wait, we can do something with this. And I was like, the pea gutter, and these challenges, that's what it's about. It's about being resourceful and being creative and being able to think, out of the box.
That you did with that. My thing is like, I want to go on it. In my head, I'm like, yo, I want to go on it. First, I want to learn primitive survival. And I go back and forth with my wife, like, yeah, I'm going to go on there one day just talking. But I was like, if they ever threw me in somebody's rainforest with a bunch of bugs, first off, I'm claustrophobic, and then a whole bunch of bugs, like, I would have been out like day one. But yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, you can't imagine it. And a lot of people like stay at home and watch it and be like, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. Yeah. Oh, if I was out there, I would have done it like this. But you can prepare as much as you want for it, but you never know how you're really going to react and be in a survival situation, especially when you're uncomfortable as hell. Mm-hmm. You really don't need to be out there because it's not like, it's, your plane crashed and you got to survive. Yeah. It's definitely by choice, so when you're in that environment, a lot of people are like, no, why am I doing this? And they quit. Right. So you have to know your why. And that's what really kept me going.
Gotcha.
The potential to actually be the first Black woman to complete the challenge, the potential to inspire my daughters and a lot of other women, that kept me going.
Okay. Yeah. And not even just women. A Black man was over here before you cheering you on. So yeah, it was definitely amazing seeing that. What do they say? Like fighters, everybody has a fight plan until they get hit in the face. And I guess that's how it is for you guys. Everybody has to plan what they think they're going to do until they're thrown out there naked and afraid. So what about like the crew? How many crew people are following you around? And are you guys ever really alone out there, minus the medic who's camped out so far away? Does the crew leave at any point and just set up cameras?
So the crew is there with us, following us around with the camera from like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Okay. After that, they leave and they set up the nighttime camera. So that's the camera where you'll see the infrared or the green.
Yeah.
And during that time and overnight, we're alone just with the camera.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Again, I watch so many shows. So do they give you a walkie-talkie just in case of an emergency or something?
Yeah, we get a walkie-talkie just in case, if there's any issues, we can call and then come out because they don't want anyone dying on the show.
Okay, gotcha. Now, I know you said you were like real spiritual and whatnot. Did you feel like spirits and energy while you were out there?
Oh man, I really felt it because I'm a person that I love nature, and the more I'm in nature, the more I can connect. And I feel that connection with source, with God, whatever you want to call it. So being out there in that environment, a natural and pristine environment, no like artificial disturbances, no Wi-Fi signals, nothing. It's like stepping back in time and being able to tap in and connect so much more, not having any distractions, no phones, no people. It allows you to really get quiet and to tap in. So that was maybe like a real highlight of the experience, sitting once my partners left and I didn't have his voice and his complaining, I was able to go in even deeper, to the point where, sitting with myself, I worked through a lot of emotions and things from my past and just mental junk. Once I got through that, it was like I was deeply connected and tap in where I just heard inspiration. It was just like divine guidance and things coming through. And I wish I had like paper to write stuff down.
Wow.
But it was amazing.
Okay. I can't sit back and not address the elephant in the room. You had dreads. When did you go ahead and go with the big chop?
Yeah, well, this is my second chop. I had
Okay.
I had them before and I cut them. Because locks represent something symbolic and spiritual in my culture being a Jamaican. And I started growing my locks when I was about 18, and a lot of things started shifting in my life and my level of consciousness. And I was looking for purpose and connection and meaning. And I found that through Rastafarianism and my culture. So that's when I started growing my locks as a way of symbolically just connecting back to who I am, my roots, my culture, and the earth. But locks hold energy. So I think the last time I chopped my locks off was 2010. And then I grew my hair out maybe like 2 years. And then in 2012, I started locks again. So, this is almost 10 years of holding, this hair and this energy and the things that I've been going through. So, after the show, I traveled around Mexico for a while and then I ended up on the coast. And for a while, I've been thinking about cutting my hair. And, when you know it's time, you just know. So, yeah, it was just a new chapter in my life. And I wanted to really let go and start anew. And, my locks, they were so beautiful. And I got to a point where they were like amazing. And it really represented like detachment and letting go, because I've said to people like I'm going to cut my locks and they're like, no, look how beautiful they are. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
And it just represents letting go, you know what I mean, on different levels. And yeah, and I'm not my hair. As India Ari said, I'm not my hair, I'm so much
Yep.
more. But I came out here and I started going to the beach every day. And, I live in hot, it's like always hot. So after a while, I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Done with it. Well, speaking of that, so when I heard you were in Atlanta, I was like, oh, perfect. Let me see, reach out. Well, it wasn't a gimme. I mean, I reach out to people all the time, but I was like, yo, let me see. And you said, yeah. And I'm like, all right, let's set up a date. And you were like, well, I'm not in Atlanta anymore. And you were like, I moved to Mexico. And I'm like, what? Like, so what happened with that? Like, you were just tired of the South and went south of the border or what?
Well, when they told me Mexico, I knew that it would be a pivot point in my life. Like I knew I was being sent here for a reason. And I'm Jamaican, but I grew up in Philadelphia and then I moved to Atlanta a few years ago. But what a lot of people don't know about me is that I grew up in the United States as an undocumented immigrant.
Oh, wow.
So I
Okay.
grew up in a way like a Mexican. So I
Yeah.
came here when I was 5 years old, and then my parents never did the paperwork process for me.
Gotcha.
So, when it was time for me to go to like college, everybody was applying and doing this and that. That's when the reality hit me that I'm not like everybody else because I didn't have this piece of paper. So years ago, when Obama was in office, he passed DACA, which stands for Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals. Because there's thousands of people like me that came to the United States as children, and through no fault of their own, they never got, a green card or citizenship. But the United States never, the government never took that into, just acknowledged that and made a way for us to live, a regular life. So I got DACA years ago, and that gave me the ability to work, but it never led to like citizenship or anything, or I couldn't even leave the country to travel. So I always felt very imprisoned. To be able to leave, I had to write immigration and wait for their response to be able to come back in the country. So with the show, I only had a month notice of where I was going, and I wrote immigration, and it takes them months to get back to you. So I had to make a decision once I was leaving. Either I stay here, not do the show, and play it safe. And other option was to just go, knowing that, well, I might not be able to come back, once the show is done, or if I come back, there'll be a lot of just legal issues and things to go through with immigration. And, I really just connected with, God, and really did some soul searching and realized that I'm ready to go on just the next chapter of my life, and to do that without fear of not knowing what is next and how my life would look, but knowing that I can't let that limit, my choices and what I'm going to do. So it's, stepping out into fear, and, knowing that everything is divine, everything always works out, even when it looks like it's going to shit. At the end of the day, when I go through it and make it through, it's always like for my benefit in some way, shape, or form. There's blessings and there's lessons.
Definitely.
And that lesson can become a blessing if you actually learn from it.
That part.
So yeah, the choice was kind of already made when I made that decision. Either I'd be in Mexico or I'd go home to Jamaica. And I made that choice to just blaze that trail and do something totally different.
Okay. That's a bold move. A lot of people probably would be too scared to do, but you did it. And you're looking good, so I'm guessing it's not too bad, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm living in, I always say I feel like I'm living in a postcard, because there's like 36 beaches and bays here. I mean, it's beautiful. I have fruits and vegetables all around me. The people are, very nice. Yeah. So it's very different from what I'm used to of, growing up and living in the United States. But
yes,
you got to get out of your comfort zone. And that's what I'm always learning on my journey, getting out of my comfort zone and then getting out of my own way. There's a lot of, people traveling and choosing to live differently and stepping out of their comfort zone. So one thing I want to do is, one, inspire more people of color to get out into nature, to connect with themselves spiritually, and to travel and get to know this beautiful planet, this beautiful blue gem that we live on called Earth.
I'm all for that. I've been on 5 of the 7 continents myself, so I'm pro travel, pro getting out there and trying to do the same thing one day at a time.
Definitely. Well, keep your eyes tuned, because there's more to come. That's what I'm gonna say. There's more to come.
Exhale?
Yeah.
Exhale!
Yeah.
This one? The one that's coming on tonight?
There's talk of Alone and Excel.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna have to get you back on here. I'm gonna have to get you back on here. Let the people know where they can find you and follow you and everything you're doing.
Yeah, and I ask people to just check me out on IG at moonchildhealing_SM. Also, it's been my lifelong vision and mission to build community and live in nature. So that looks like building an eco-village where people can come and live differently and connect and grow and heal and, be inspired. So check out Starseed Landing on IG or starseedlanding.org. Yeah, that's mostly it. People can reach out to me. Traditionally, I'm a healer and facilitator of growth and upliftment and consciousness. So I offer, healing services and consultations and distant energy healing sessions. And I'm also looking to transform my home where I live now into a healing retreat for women. So that'll be coming up in the next few months, where women can come, take some time out of, their regular life and really focus on themselves to heal and grow and, nourish and be inspired.
Wow.
So all of that is in the works.
Midwifing. I remember you touched on you were doing midwifing. Are you still doing that over there also?
In a way, I'm a student midwife. I was inspired to get on that path years ago when I had my children at home, unassisted, with just me and their father. And I started that journey of helping other people have their babies at home as well. But when I really talk about midwifery, I'm talking about birth, yes, but also a bigger vision and paradigm of, right now we're going through like just a shift in planet on the planet and in the consciousness of people. So it's like we're stepping from one world and birthing another world. And that looks like us, working on ourselves to heal and to, grow so that we can create that new world. And that only happens when we first like transform who we are and our vision and our perspective. So in that way, I'm a spiritual midwife, helping people to do that and also assisting the planet.
Wow. Okay. When you start speaking about like assisting the planet, I get out in nature a little bit, but I remember running into a group. It was a big group of people, but I think they said they were like part of Mother Gaia or something like that. Is that what you're into more of
Well,
that?
Gaia is another name for the earth.
Okay.
So there's many names: Gaia, Pachamama. Yeah. So similarly, there's a lot of people out there. Our ancestors have done it where we don't see ourselves separate from the earth. What happens to the earth ultimately happens to us.
Definitely.
So we have to make that shift in awareness back to, how our ancestors lived in some respects, Native American teachings and principles of unity and oneness with the earth. And, getting away from what happened, 400 or 500 years ago when colonization really ramped up, Christopher Columbus and that whole mindset of, raping and pillaging people and also the earth. It's very much a mindset of capitalism and extraction, extracting value and wealth from the earth. And then that is mirrored in our relationships with other people. What can I get from this person or, this company or whatever? Once we start to shift all of those things to more of a connected reality, more love-based, heart-based, then we can start to see the more bigger shifts happen.
That part.
Yeah, because it's like you have your house, right? You wouldn't trash your house. You would try to clean your house daily. I do.
Yeah.
So
you take care of it.
Is our larger house and community. So why are we polluting it? For convenience and business and capitalism. Building more factories, creating more plastic and so it's just we need to have more awareness of what our choices are doing and impacting the planet and think for 7 generations ahead. As in Native American principle, they have something called the 7-generation principle, where every choice before they do it, every decision, they think about how this will affect 7 generations in the future. And if it's going to negatively affect them, then it's a no-brainer that we're not doing this. So I feel like we need to adopt that principle because we're borrowing the planet, the ecosystem from future generations. Exactly. And it's up to us how they will inherit it.
See, there's a lot of people in power who don't care about that. It's all about the dollar,
they don't care.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I'm from California, if you didn't know, and they have some of the strictest laws as far as like water usage. I mean, as far as like pollution and whatnot. And people are, those crazy liberals over there, blah blah blah. But like, no, like if you go back to 80s, even as early as the 80s, 90s, like the pollution and smog that was going on over there, it's a no-brainer. And now you go back to LA and there's not really smog like how it was when I was a kid. And that's because people put common sense laws into place to sit back and make sure the city isn't a freaking cancer hole for everyone inhaling that stuff. But a lot of places, I live in Georgia, they don't really care about much of anything except for money and guns, but that's another story. I don't want to get too much, on that, but definitely understand.
Those are all the things I'm passionate about: healing each other, building community, and in doing that, it will heal the planet.
Definitely. All right. So Shanika, again, I do appreciate you getting on the channel, taking the time, enlightening us on what's going on with you, where they can find you. And if we ever see you on TV again, I promise I need you back over here so we could discuss a little recap.
Definitely. It's a pleasure coming on and really talking to you. And I love what you're doing. You know, keep doing it.
Appreciate it. Same to you. I'm a big fan. And until next time.
All right. Peace and love.
Peace and love.